Now, this right here might be a pretty quick video. You saw the thumbnail. I'm talking about Giant Luffy versus Loki the Giant. Okay, these two might clash in Elbaf really soon. Who's stronger aside? Because I'm sure we're gonna find out real soon that Luffy is really strong in Gear 5. Okay, we're gonna find that out, that he's almost unmatched when you pair him up to anybody. But I think the real question is, who's bigger? Who's taller? We know that Loki is around Oars' height because somebody like Zoro said so, right? He's seen Oars. We know how Oars is like taller than all the other giants because he's an ancient giant. So Loki is around ancient giant height. He looks like he is taller than Haruden. Is that who was in the last chapter? Yeah, Haruden. And he looks like he's taller than Dory and Broggy. So that's my question. Is he as tall as Luffy? Gear 5 as tall as Loki? Because we seen him fighting Kizaru, and you know, the one of the five elders, he fought all five elders, but he only fought Saturn as a giant. When the other ones came, he wasn't giant anymore. He ran out of energy. And he never actually stood next to Dory and Broggy as a giant either. Even with Kaido was pretty big, but we didn't see him in comparison to Kaido's regular human big form, because Kaido was a giant dragon at the time when Luffy fought him. He jumped rope with Kaido. So he's big enough to jump rope with Kaido, who's even way bigger than when he was a regular human. And Luffy is also towering, like in the picture I have right here, as you can see, he towers over his whole team. They look to be around the height he is compared to Loki, around his foot only. Albeit it's a different camera angle, of course, but his whole team looks to be around Luffy's foot. Same way Loki, Luffy's around Loki's foot height. He's right down there. When he gets in Loki's face, he's about the size of his head. At the most, at the least, maybe. I don't even know how to frame that. Like, he's barely at the size of his head, okay? So, that was my question. Like, we know that Loki's an extremely tall giant. Okay, he's around the size of Oars, taller than Oars Jr. even. So we've seen Oars. Like, Zoro's seen Oars. Okay, we've all seen Oars because of Punk Hazard, when Luffy was inside of Oars' body. So the fact that Zoro says, yo, this guy is as big as Oars, that's telling you something. Zoro might be bad with directions, but I don't think he has a bad sense of scale. I don't think he has that, okay? And we haven't seen Zoro or anybody comment on giant Luffy size saying anything similar, like, oh, he's as big as this person or that person. We know that they know he's giant. At least half the team knows he's giant. He can go giant, but we haven't heard them compare his size to anybody, so we can't really speak on that too much. But I think in Elbaf, we're going to see not only Luffy go giant, but if I'm to speak of the leaks, the early spoilers for the next chapter, 1142, spoiler alert, I'm about to say something that happens in that episode, in that next chapter. But yeah, we know that Loki picks up his hammer, and that hammer is, the Iron Thunder. It is the reason, or the cause of the fire that happened in Elbaf long ago, or at least it most likely is, based off of this chapter, because his hammer can create a lightning bolt that strikes where he struck the hammer at. And now he set the tree on fire, apparently, and threatens to set the rest of the tree on fire because, he says, Elbaf's weakness just as well as I do. So the weakness is fire, obviously. So we're going to see a giant Luffy, possibly, or even a small Nika-sized Luffy, grabbing those thunderbolts out of the sky, hitting Loki with them. Or maybe he can grab the flames. Maybe he'll be able to blow the flames out, Gum Superman breath, I don't know. I still think Luffy's Gum Gear 5 powers, we haven't seen the extent of it. I still think he's going to make clones of himself, okay? I'll make a separate video on all the things I think he'll be able to do as Gear 5, and how Oda's been dropping hints of that everywhere with how he speaks of the power and how he depicts it and shows it. And he even says something in SBS, like, this is the manifestation of the Damn, what did he say? I'm about to quote him, and I forgot what he said. Wow. Okay, I had to research it real quick, so I'm not just sitting here saying the whole video. But yeah, Oda essentially said that, you know, he was referring to Luffy pulling those goggles out on Egghead Island. He said that it's the gateway to Nika's fantasy. Okay, the Nika's fantasy. So whatever that means, a gateway to Nika's fantasy. He can create things and imagine whatever he wants, so on and so forth. That's the video I'll be making. But I think that's going to really come into play with how they deal with Loki. And Loki is going to also wonder how the hell is this dude grabbing thunderbolts out the sky? Because I think we're going to see Luffy do that. God, I really think we're going to see Luffy do that. And there's no way he's not going to be going giant during this arc. I feel like him going giant against Loki would be the perfect time. If not, I mean, it could be saved for later, but I feel like him going giant against Loki and everybody else realizing, well, Loki, he's not the real sun god, and Luffy looks like the sun god. Or maybe Loki has the devil fruit that makes him look just like it too. Who knows? That's the stuff we're gonna have to find out later, but I do think we're gonna see this giant fight happen. I think we're gonna see Luffy grab a thunderbolt, a lightning bolt from Loki at least once. We're gonna see that happen. It's gonna come into play, like Loki, that hammer being electricity versus Luffy, and Luffy being rubber, and that not affecting him. That thing is gonna come into play somehow. Okay, it's gonna come into play. That might be a determining factor as to why Luffy can beat him, similar to Anil. Like, Loki has this great power, but it doesn't work on Luffy, right? It'd be that simple. Like with anything else Luffy does, comes out to be pretty simple in the end. Especially because his power, you know, it goes off of his imagination. Gear 5 does. He'll be able to, like, fight Loki. I think he's gonna whoop Loki's ass. To put it simple, he might whoop Loki's ass, man. He might whoop his ass. And we might not see the, like, extent of Gear 5's abilities, but we're definitely gonna see him at least go toe to toe with Loki. You see what happened with Scalper. Scalper didn't even want to fight Luffy anymore, especially because Zoro was there. So I think Loki might not. Obviously Loki's not going to give up, and he's nerfed right now. He has the sea stone cuff on his leg, but he apparently can still use the power of the hammer. The hammer is most likely a devil fruit, or it has a devil fruit ability in it. Okay, it most likely is the case. How else would he be using this amazing power? And he has a sea stone cuff on his leg. It's not hockey. He's not generating hockey lightning, unless that's a thing now. But, you know, I doubt it. That's not a thing. I'm just talking. So yeah, he has a devil fruit hammer versus Luffy, who also has a devil fruit, and it's the perfect counter for Loki's hammer, because Luffy's body is rubber. What more would you want against electricity, right? So that's just a quick video talking about this. It should have been way shorter, but hey, whatever. I'm almost 10 minutes in. Leave a like, subscribe if you want, if you feel like it. If you don't, oh, okay. It's all right. But I'm out. I will be covering the full chapter. Okay. When it comes out, I'll cover the full chapter. This was just me talking about the future possibilities of the arc that we're in right now. Elbaf, giant Luffy, we all expect it to happen, but will it really happen? Most likely. When it does, how tall will he be? That's the question I came here today for. How tall is giant Luffy? Put your answer down below, okay? If you made it this far in the video, tell me how tall you think giant Luffy is. I think he's going to be around the same height. He's going to be the same height as Loki. Let me just say that he's going to be the same height as Loki. Not around. He's going to be the same height as Loki. I think that's why we didn't see him stand next to Dory and Bragi, because he's going to be taller than both of them. And they saw him in small form. So yeah, I think that's why that played out that way. But let me know what you think. I'm out.